Hey everybody, I am going to go over lesson 118 with you today, and I'm also going to go over the lesson practice. So now we're getting into those harder division problems. So this is what example 1, it says divide. So I've got two-digit numbers that I'm dividing into themselves. So I am going to have to do a little bit of estimation here. So if I kind of imagine this as zeros in the ones place. So I'm going to say okay, close my eyes and say this is a 30 going into 90. Well, I know 30 goes into 90 3 times. So now I'm going to go ahead and put that up there. So now this is where it gets a little bit tricky because you are going to have to do some side work off to the side here. So on your homework, this is going to be one of those problems that has a lot of work with it. So now I do my multiplication step. 31 times 3. So I'm just going to do that over here. And I've got 3 here, 9 here, so 93. So this multiplied together is 93. I'm going to put 93 down there. Now I subtract and I get 2. And I can't bring anything else down. So this problem wasn't so bad since now I just have a remainder of 2. So now they're going to bump it up a little bit. So now I've got a 3-digit number. But I'm basically going to do the same thing. But in this case, I need to kind of change my estimation a little bit. There's 2 ways to do this. You could do it just like the way I did it up here, or you know that 43 can't go into 24, but you might ask yourself, okay, what about 43 times a number that could get me close to this? So when I was younger, this is how I did these problems. So you can do it the estimation way, or you can just do it the pick and choose way, and that's how I used to do it. So I know if I kind of look at this, 4 times 6 is 24, so that might work. But then I've got this number, and that's higher than a 5, so I'm going to do both problems off to the side here. I'm going to say, okay, well, what is 43 times 5, first of all? That's going to give me 15. So now I've got 21 there. All right, still under 246. So let's see what happens if I multiply 43 times 6 now. That was my original thought. Now I'm going to multiply, and I get 258. Oops, that's too big. So I know my top number is now going to be 5. And I'm going to make sure I put it over the ones place. So now I've got 215. So that's going to go here. So now all I need to do is my regular subtraction, but this is going to look very different. So now I've got 31 and I can't bring anything else down. So my remainder is actually going to be 31. Now you might say, wait, that doesn't look right at all. But it can be, because if you are looking for groups of 43, you can have all the way up to groups of 42 without having to go into another whole number here. So my final answer will be 5 with a remainder of 31. And you might have to just kind of check your work over here for that example. Because if we did the estimation, we would have been over. So that's why you always kind of do the estimation and then either go lower or go higher. All right, so now example 3 is a word problem. So the word problem says 487 students. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to underline 487. Students are going to be assigned to classrooms so that the average number of students in each room is as close to 21 as possible. So 21's there. How many classrooms will there be? Well, this is an interesting question because we're going to have to run into another problem here. So I went ahead and set this up already. So I've got 487 and 21. So what I'm going to do here, all right, well, I know that 21 can go into 48 before it can go into the larger number there. So if I just go off to the side here, I know it can go twice. 21 times 2, that's going to be 42. That's really close. But let's just check it out again. So now let's do 21 times 3. That's going to give me 3. That's going to give me 6. That's going to be way too high. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I know it's going to be 2. So I'm going to put 2 right here. So now I get 21 times 2. We already got it right here. That's 42. subtract, bring down. Now 2 goes into 67. Now, I already did 21 times 3 here, and I know my next number is not going to be much higher than that. So that is going to be my next number, that 3 right there. So 21 times 3 now. So now I'm going to get 63. When I subtract, I get 4. There's nothing else to bring down. So look what happens here, though. I have 23 with a remainder of 4. But that's not what the question's asking me. The question's asking me, how many classrooms are there going to be? I know there's going to be, 23, sure, but what do we do with that remainder of 4? The remainder of 4 is actually going to get absorbed into the rest of those classrooms. So for this question, I know it's a weird question, but the final answer will be 23. It'll be 23 classrooms. Just those extra 4 are just going to be placed in those other classrooms. That's a teacher question, but that's some of the math that we actually have to do, and especially larger schools. All right, so now jumping down to the lesson practice. Lesson practice going from 128 divided by 32. So I'm going to say, all right, going to do my estimation on this again. Looking at 3, and that's going to be maybe 4. Let's try that out. Let's go 32 times 4. That's going to be 128. Oh, look what happened. This is going to be exactly the same. So this is going to be a number without any remainders. It's going to be a whole number. So 32 times 4, we know that is 128. I show my work, subtract, 0. So 4 is your final answer. That one was pretty cut and dry. All right, let's look at B. 90 divided by 21. Now, I can skip count, 2, 4, 6, 8, and I know that's going to be a 4. Well, at least give me 80, so I can do that. I'm going to take 21 times 4 and see what I end up with. 84. Looks good. Subtract. That's going to give me, if I regroup here, it's going to give me 6. So now I have nothing to bring down, and my remainder will be 6. Okay, jumping over to letter C. 25 going into 68 now. An easy way to think about if you have a 25 as your divisor. 25, you can just skip count like money, like quarters. So if I take quarters, I'm going to say, okay, 25, 50, 75. Oh, so now 75 is too much, so it's going to be 2. So there is 50. Now I subtract, that's going to give me 18. I can't bring anything else down, so my remainder is 18. All right, letter D won't be as easy as that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask myself, okay, 42 to 250. So if I kind of cover up my numbers here and think about it, 40 going into 25, how many times does 4 go into 25? I'm going to say that that's about 5, but I got to prove my work. So let's check that over here. 21, okay. Could I go higher? Sure. Let's check if I go higher, see what that looks like. 252. Oh, it's just over, so I know I have to work with that 5 now. So 42 times 5 is 210. When I subtract, I get 40. So for that one, my remainder is 40, and that's okay as long as it's not over 42. So that's one of those really close questions too. All right, letter E. They want us to go into 880, and your divisor is 41. So for this one, I'm going to kind of say, all right, well, I know that 40 can go into 80 about twice. Just to prove it, I'm going to write it off to the side, make sure I'm right. 82, that's close, so I'm going to put this here. Bring down that 0 now, though. So now how many times can 41 go into 60? Well, I know it can only go once. So now I've got 41 here, and now I'm going to regroup here. So 10 minus 1 is 9, 5 minus 4 is 1. My remainder is 19. All right, here's the last one. Now, this is an interesting one because I know that 11 and 55, I know 11 times 5 is 55. So I'm going to go ahead and put my 5 there. So now I've got 55, a 0, and bring down the 5. So this is where it might get a little tricky because you might say, oh, remainder 5. but we're not fully done. So that's why you're going to take your 11. How many times can 11 go into 5? Well, it can't. So you have to put your 0 right there. And now multiply again. 0 times 11 is 0. Subtract. Can't bring anything else down, so that is where your remainder of 5 will go. All right, guys, have a good time with your homework, and I will talk to you later. Bye.